All right, hey everyone, this is Ash. Welcome back to the King's Speech. So apologies for being a day late on doing the One Piece live reaction. Unfortunately, got sidetracked yesterday having to leave my new job, so I had to put this aside. I wasn't feeling too well either, so slight delay, but still only a day late, so not too bad. So before we dive into this chapter, I just got to talk about a few things before we dive into it because my suspicions and hackles were kind of raised last week before this chapter even dropped. When I think by like Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, I started to see like spikes in viewership on my last One Piece video. And given that the scans usually and the spoilers usually come out on Thursdays, I was wondering if this was somehow people like finding my channel because they got something right or called something or something was happening. And the spikes just kept going and going and going over the weekend. And I think my last video has been one of my most viewed One Piece videos, which is kind of weird because it's not even my best one, but yeah, it kind of made me a little bit suspicious about what was going on. And then I've seen but some people have also kind of reached out to me to let me know, they're kind of, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. They're kind of shocked by the stuff that happened in this chapter. I haven't been spoiled on anything, but they're letting me know they're kind of just like shocked by what Oda's done. So that made me super excited to dive into this to see if I'm finally right in my prediction on the raid going south is finally going to come true. So I guess we'll dive into that and see how that's turned out. And the one last thing I want to kind of put out there before I dive into the chapter proper is I'm curious to know if on the normal streaming days for Sundays when I do them, I want to know if there's a specific time anyone prefers that I do the streams, whether it be early mornings right after the chapter drops around 11 or 12, or if you want to prefer it later in the evening, 3 to 4 in the afternoon, something like that. So if there is a time preference, early mornings, late evenings, do let me know. And I can always kind of shift my schedule around that to match everyone's preference. So with that said, without further ado, let us dive into One Piece chapter 933, The Dream of Wano. As we see, the cover page is finally chapter 990. The cover page is volume 36 of Gang Badges of My Family with Gaudi and Lola's wedding. It looks very festive. Everyone's celebrating. There's hearts flying everywhere. They look like a very happy couple. I guess this puts all the theories to rest about Lola having married was Lucky Roo from Shanks' crew. It puts all those theories to rest. This also makes me wonder if this is going to now segue into Chiffon asking about her marriage to what was it, Loki, and that's going to set up the whole Elbaf storyline. But we'll see. As always, we have translation by Stephen Paul, lettering by Vanessa Saccone. So we see the Flower Capital. Yeah, it's the night of the Grand Fire Festival. You see, here in the Flower Capital, the lone place that flourishes in Wano, the smiles of the people cover up the fears and pressures that lurk behind them. As you see one of those fire dancers with like the long hair, twirling fire batons around the demon face, and you see the drummers drumming away, musicians playing. As you have, they were able to survive because of the furtive belief that the country would be saved by the Kozuki samurai one day, a legend that seemed plausible enough to support their faith. So they've got like this giant Odin balloon just like doing a signature pose and everything as they're celebrating. I have to figure like Orochi would hear about this, and I have to assume it would piss him off that the people in the Flower Capital have this huge Odin effigy that they're just like celebrating under. Unless it's going to be like the Avatar episode where it's like, actually, no, they actually hate Odin and they're going to burn the effigy down. But you see some random little kid going, I wish this day would never end. And you see that carpenter dude that Frankie was working under going, won't have another drop to drink for an entire year once this festival's over. And you have, damn it. If only Orochi didn't have Kaido backing him up. He goes, you know what I think? I think the Kozuki clan's battle is happening right now. I bet they recruited warriors from all over the world to help. And they went to Onigashima and sliced up Orochi and Kaido and raised hell. That's right, you tell them. Today's the day when everyone can speak their dreams aloud. And you see the old lady, so is it Yasue's wife? No, it's not Yasue's wife. Is it? Yeah, it might be. Going, this water's so fresh and delicious. It's like, what a day of luxury. The air's so fresh here. Breathe in all you want. No one will be executed today. It's the best day of the year. Orochi will be back, but for now, sing, dance, enjoy yourself. For today is the fire festival. And see all the celebrations celebrating and laughing away. As you have a bang, and we head back to Onigashima. As you have, look out, run away! Don't let them catch you, they'll slice you up. And you have Zoro going, what is that? As you see this demonic looking mofo with a sword out, grabbing the grifters, encasing them in what looks like ice. And you see more of them behind him. What the hell are these? Yeah, I don't know. And you and Queen goes, that was Queen. It really is a plague. So it is plague bullets. Jeff, help! It's cold! I'm turning into an Oni! And you see all these samurai and grifters that are being turned or slowly transforming into Onis with these ice-forming demon shadows on their face as they're biting and scratching other people. And you have a yeah! It's like they're being infected. And you have Queen going, close the doors to every tower. This floor is finished. This is the shining jewel of my playgrounds, Ice Oni. And you see fire, first basement level. Oh, Lord, we're doing this again. So you have basement level, 2 basement levels, and 5 other levels up to the tower for the tower. Oh, Lord, Oda, don't do this. So you have, out of the way, you! And Luffy's just smashing, just grabbing his way through the goons again. You have, wait, Luffy, as someone grabs him. And you see Shichi doing his party table kick course, knocking them aside. One of the gifters goes, hey, you'll pay for what you did to my guys. Prepare for a beatdown. Ook! As he just grows a gorilla out of his arm. Like, why is the gorilla going out of there? You won't get past me. You have Animal Kingdom Pirates headliner, Briscola, Gorilla Smile Fruit. He's like, oh, you're a couple of wise guys, huh? And you have ook, 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 as the gorilla is trying to punch at them. So they don't, why don't you tell me how a gorilla is supposed to grow? And as he's swinging it back, the gorilla's just punching away. Shichi's getting all annoyed. He's like, how should I know? And you have gorilla punch. And you see him just smashing through some rocks. And Shichi unfortunately jumps out of the way and he doesn't get his face smashed in. You have, whoa, that was pretty powerful. And you see, hey, there's a bunch back there too. All right, I'll take care of them. And Shichi's like, how many times do we have to tell you to conserve your strength for Kaido? And Luffy's like, it'll take you too long to handle all these guys alone. He has no faith in his shitty cook. Oh my god, I love that. He's like, shut up, is 10 seconds too long for you? I'll do it in 3. And you have Fisherman Karate, Shark Brick Fist. And you see Briscola just getting slammed straight up into the roof with an ook. It's, oh no, Briscola. And you see Boss Jinbei standing there looking like a snack as he goes, Luffy, Sanji, I figured I would find you here. Luffy's like, Jinbei. He's like, I'm getting you up to the roof. You must conserve your power. Just show up that shitty ass. And Shichi's getting all annoyed. He's like, oh, who put you in charge? I'm the one dragging Luffy along. Jinbei just doesn't give a shit. It's like, oh, you are? Sorry. So the samurai should have reached the top of the battlefield. We ought to head there. It's like, how do you know everything that's happening? Watch out, because if Luffy gets a chance to fight, he'll take it. It's like, I'll keep that in mind. And you see a cat with the paper face mask on with the same symbol that Bao Hong had. As it goes, meow. Jeff, wait up! Yamato and Momonosuke pass through the right brain tower. And you see Shinobu still running away with Yamato in hot pursuit. as Bao Hong reports they're heading to the outside. He's like, got it, Bao Hong. He goes, this is King. The enemy strength is about 5,400. Most of them are samurai rallying around Oden's vassals. In other words, this is a rebellion of the Kozuki clan to restore their house to power. They seek to place Oden's son Kozuki Momonosuke upon the shogun's throne of Wano. Kill Momonosuke and bring his head to me. That will break the will of the samurai to fight. And you see the Flying Six soldiers listening in on this. Excuse me. As King goes, the pirates will be a separate matter, I suppose. Momonosuke's current location is... He's like, hey, wait! He's like, oh, give it a rest. And you see Sasaki grinning evilly as he goes, got it, found him. He goes, take aim! And you see stomp, 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 fire! And you see an explosion in front of Shinobu as they blow up the floor, and she's looking around, she's cradling Momonosuke, ooh. As you see arrows and a bunch of swords flying towards her, and she shields him with her back. And you see Momo go, Shinobu! And Yamato's like, what's happening? And you have Sasaki going, stay out of this, Kunoichi. What the hell is this? You see this Viking-looking mofo with like the full beard and helmet, this giant axe and a turtle fur is under like his lower half, leaping forward as he goes, but now this ends. It's like, Shinobu! He's like, run, Lord Momonosuke. Yeah, Momo going, run? Is that what a shogun should do? And you see a cacao as Yamato jumps in, just slams the club into him and knocks him out with the huh? And you see Animal Kingdom Pirates Armored Division, and you see Sasaki reclining on the back of a rhino. And you see some of the gifters from before, the one with the weird kind of like crab claws and the mantis, the Hercules beetle looking one, and a bunch of other ones. And you go, so you intend to interfere with this, young Master Yamato? Yamato goes, I'm not interfering. I'm fighting for Kozuki. And you see back on the Skull Dome, Kaido's just kind of laid up and like, oh, God, it hurts. He's like, sever his windpipe. Stop his breathing. This fight ain't over until his head is severed. And as the Russian samurai rushing forward, Kaido goes, in your spirit, I saw the visage of Kozuki Oden. He's like, I could have let you kill me. With each throb of my scar, and you see Kaido thinking back to Father, help! As when he cut down Oden, he goes, I remember, but you people are not Oden. We will never see a monster samurai of his like again. And he goes, it is too shallow. You don't even have enough power to open up the old scar. You cannot do it. And you see him as he's going, kind of reaching up for the moon again. He opens up his mouth, lets out another roar. And you see these flying wind blades coming towards them. And Denjiro's like, invisible slashes? Oh. Oh, shit. All right. Now I see why everyone was freaking out. Oh, man. All right. And you see one of the blades goes flying by and slices Kiku's left arm and sends it just flying as there's a spurt of blood. And both Izo and Kinemon are like, Kiku! As you see Kiku just looking in complete shock at the force. And her blade's been completely severed as well. As we have next chapter hits November 1st. Oh, boy. All right. Yeah, so we'll go through thoughts as normal. I'm probably annoying so many people who are probably just like in mortal fear of what's happening to Kiku. All right, let's go through thoughts as normal. So, at the start, again, to kind of like at least speculate a little bit on the ticking clock question, I think this scenario kind of cements two ideas in my mind. The first is at the end of the Fire Festival, so I'm guessing when dawn breaks over Wano is when this arc will end. I don't know what the times is right now. I know the raid was supposed to commence at what, like 6 or 8 at night o'clock. So still probably a couple of hours left for everything to kind of play out. I think because Dressrosa happened in like the span of a couple of hours in a day, and so given the scope of the arc, like Oda can cram in quite a lot during that time. So that's kind of my speculation, just because of all the importance around the Fire Festival. I feel like that's going to be the ticking clock when dawn breaks and the Fire Festival ends. That's when Wano's going to be, well, free from Kaido and Orochi at least. But we'll see if Oda's going to actually subvert that and change it around. But I don't know. But there's just been too much emphasis on this being a very specific and special day. So I feel like he's probably going to do his best to kind of fit everything into there. The other part is there's also been a lot of speculation about whether the raid is going to change locations from Onigashima back to Wano proper. I know a lot of people have said like, oh, what if Luffy's gonna fight Kaido on top of the mountain that's in the middle of Wano? I think this also kind of cements that idea because I think the biggest, well, I guess what I think the biggest setback people are discussing with regards to whether the raid on Onigashima will succeed there or whether they're going to have to regroup and change locations is how that's going to break up kind of the pace and the tension that Oda's setting up. Because if the raid does fail and Kaido does decide to shift locations, then it does kind of break up the momentum because then everyone has to get together again, figure out, all right, how are we going to get back from here back to the flower capital, whatever. So it would break up the momentum and drag out the arc a little bit longer. Right now, it's still too early to call, but based on the citizens kind of like expressing this hope that, this is like the day we celebrate, the day when our joy and our happiness is the highest. It feels like it would be more poetic for them to see Kaido and Orochi being defeated and to see Wano being liberated with their own eyes. Just for that reason alone, I feel like the fight has to shift back here so that they can all get involved and they can see Kaido being taken down by the Kozukis. So that's kind of my speculation. It's still too early to tell. We'll have to see how the rest of the stuff plays out. Queen, I like the creativity of what Oda's doing with Queen's Plagues. Like, I like the aesthetic of these ice onis, and I'm like, all right, it looks good. But given that last time with Chopper, when Queen used one of his plagues, and Chopper was like, yeah, no big deal. I can cure this in like 5 seconds. It's not a big, like, it's not a huge achievement for me. I don't, I'm not particularly doing like, I'm not particularly, what's the word? God, my brain is so dead today. I'm not particularly like terrified or like fearing for anyone that's affected by this. Like, I don't feel like it's gonna be a huge obstacle to them to try to get to Kaido. It's like, yeah, it's an annoyance. Yeah, I'll try to be annoying to deal with because people are getting infected and everything. But Queen hasn't really lived up to his epitaph of being, Queen the Plague. It's just like, if the guy's going to be a plague, I actually want to see people be like, get infected, and Chopper being like, oh shit, this is actually dangerous. I can't do this. This is, far above my medical expertise. But we haven't really seen that. And it seems kind of weird that he's only using like one plague at a time. He's just like, ha ha ha, I'm just going to have fun with this. Rather than kind of like, using multiple plagues and kind of building them on top of each other. So I'm hoping that's part of the reason, like, I'm hoping that we do see the fight move to different places, as I don't feel like any of Kaido's, disasters, Jack the Drow King, the Wildfire, Queen the Plague, I don't feel like any of them have really lived up to their epitaphs. So I kind of want to see them do that at some point in this fight, but I don't know, maybe like Oda's just decided he doesn't have enough time to go through that and he's rushing it, but whatever. On the these interactions with Shitji are kind of weird because it feels like Oda's trying to sneak in. He was like, "Oh, I have to have the comedic bits again." Like he's checking off a checklist, and it's kind of weird because there is grains of truth in there where they're just like, oh, Luffy, we can't have you wasting your energy here. You have to conserve it for Kaido. He's the big threat. We have to take him down. You have to do whatever you can to do that. But the problem is, as I've alluded to in like previous videos, is Oda hasn't really done enough to show that Kaido is a threat to be taken seriously, that there is, that they do need to be prepared and not take any chances, especially because of how casual the Straw Hats have been up to this point. With you like, oh yeah, Luffy's in prison. Oh, it's fine. We'll get through this, guys. It hasn't felt like they're the underdogs at any point in this. So at moments like this where you have them trying to pretend like, oh yeah, we're taking it seriously, guys. We're not underestimating Kaido and his forces, Oh, we know the seriousness of this. It doesn't really come across and really falls flat for me anyway. But then again, I also just hate shit G, so that might be coloring my opinion of it, whatever. But I do, I do love though Jinbei just coming in and being like, "Bitch, we've got more important stuff to do. Let's get moving." He's really just like he's gonna really be the most popular crew member once everything settles down, and it's gonna be glorious. Uh, Bao Huang's power is interesting. I wonder if we're gonna reveal if it's a devil fruit or if it's gonna be something else. But I'm curious to know what that's gonna be. Sasaki. So I know there's a lot of speculation on what Sasaki's devil fruit is going to be, like what kind of dinosaur he's going to be. I know a lot of people were saying Triceratops. So maybe. But as soon as I saw Armored Division, the first thing that came to mind was like, oh dang, what if he's an Ankylosaurus? The one with like the plates, like the giant club tail. I think that would be a little bit cooler than Triceratops, but we'll see. I think it has to be a specific reason he's part of the Armored Division. So it'll be interesting to see if we get to see his Devil Fruit or not. And Orally commented, fun fact, Queen's Ice Demon Plague Bullets are called Kuri Oni, which is also the name of the Japanese version of the Game Freeze tag. I kind of figured Oda was probably doing some kind of nameplay with that. That's cute, and I really like it. And I like the aesthetic, but Oda, we'll talk about this when we get to the end. Because this is like a big problem that Oda's had with this. So I like that Oda's man, like I know because even in like past chapters, I've seen people commenting like, "Oh, when all these people complaining about how Kaido's being taken down too easily, gonna eat their words when Oda shows them that it's all fake, and the serial fight hasn't started, blah blah blah, and oh, how dare you, how dare you doubt Oda and all that." And all of them are probably looking at this, being like, "Oh yeah, look at that, Oda showed you." Like here's the thing, like Oda kind of finally cementing the idea that yeah, they're landing blows on Kaido, but it really is. Oh God, what was that thing from Monty Python? Oh, tis but a scratch, like tis but a scratch kind of thing. So I like the idea, like Oda's finally reinforcing, like yeah, they're doing damage and they're doing the best that they can, but Kaido hasn't gotten serious yet. So I like the idea of that, and I like the concept again of like, oh, I saw the visage of Kozuki Oden combined with, the kind of tropey thing of like, scars aching when you meet someone that you resent, when you have some kind of storied history, so when your scar starts aching. I kind of like that. But I like this more because I've talked about this before with the idea of souls potentially being really important in Wano, and especially the Fire Festival, where you're celebrating the peace, celebrating the dead. So I wonder if it's almost a literal thing with Kaido saying is like, oh, I'm literally kind of seeing Oden's spirit kind of, pushing on the samurai and kind of supporting them and everything. So it'll be interesting to see if that comes into it at all. But yeah, which I guess brings us to the final and most shocking twist at the end of this chapter. Kiku getting her arm chopped off because I have to do some research into the history and like the folklore of dragons. Because Kaido now has had fire breath, air breath, or like wind breath, and lightning breath. So I wonder if he's also going to have fire. No, he's got fire. So he's got fire, wind, and lightning. I wonder if he's also going to have a water attack just to round out the Quattro. We'll have to look into that to see if it's specific to Legends. But here's the thing. On one hand, I'm happy that I'm kind of being proved right and that the raid was going to fail because everything was going too well and was seeming too easy. And having Kiku's arm literally get ripped off with that much gale force and having her sword be broken as well is a good way to kind of, to kind of shock the senses and be like, oh shit's getting real now. We're kind of complacent until now. And now that he's getting serious, now you're going to see how how much you're underestimating him. But the problem is, as soon as I got excited about this, I remembered literally everything Oda has done in every single arc before this, where anything consequential was immediately undercut by him reversing it. But Dressrosa is like, oh, Law got his arm chopped off. Oh, it turns out he can just stitch it back on. Leo stitched it back on, and Mantray healed him, and now it's back to normal like nothing ever happened. And then Doflamingo's like, oh, he's radiated his guts, but don't worry, he stitched his guts back together with string, and he's perfectly fine again. And literally all the citizens of Dressrosa were it's like, oh, we got hurt by the bird cage, but don't worry. There's this girl with this broken power that will let us heal it all, and we'll be perfectly fine within no time. Things like that. Then on Whole Cake Island with Luffy being like, oh, I got beaten up, I lost a tooth and everything, but that's not a big deal because I can drink some milk and I'll be back to normal once again. So the fact that Oda has undercut so much of the consequences in his series, and he's introduced so many broken powers that kind of instantly make them inconsequential. Like Lost Surgery being like, oh, I can just stitch people back together, or I can heal people, I can do this, or stuff like that. Part of it, like, is instantly detracted from the impact of this moment where it's such a what's the word I'm looking for? Oh God, there's a word I'm looking for, but you know what I'm saying? Like the image of Kiku getting her arm struck off is very vivid and striking, but it doesn't last beyond that initial point because of Oda's past history with this. And it's a real shame that it is like that we cannot trust Oda to actually commit to any of the things that he does. And it really does undercut a lot of the punch of his storytelling. So I don't know. Right now, I'm just kind of like, I like the direction this is going, but I want to see more. I want to see him actually commit to it before I kind of pass any judgment on whether I like it or not. Because if he does immediately undercut it or even hint at the fact that, this is not going to be a big consequential thing, I would hate it. So, yeah, right now I'm kind of trying to say past history is telling me to be wary, but I want to be excited for it. We'll see. I do like, again, this is going to be like a thing where it's just me kind of speculating and hoping Oda addresses this. I do like that Kiku's sword was also destroyed by Kaido, because if we go back to the whole theme of this idea of the sword, the soul of a warrior resides in their sword, and how the samurai of Wano pick up their comrade's sword and carry it into battle when they fall. That brings up a lot of potential, a lot of interesting story elements. So I'll have to see if Oda actually addresses any of that. And do you think Oda makes the cat into a human and talk like the cat in Bleach? Possible, I guess, but no. Because the first thought that just struck me now was we have what's that guy? The weird beaky guy from the Revolutionary Army who can apparently turn into like a murder of crows. I think that's his devil fruit ability. So that might be what Bao Hong's thing is, as well as like she can just, create shadow cats, and then because they're a part of her, she can just see through them as well. I think that's more likely than it's just a cat that's like turned into a person. I don't think that's going to be the case. It just struck me right now. I was thinking about it, it's like that revolutionary was it Kurama or something? The revolutionary commander. It's just like his. With that said, I'm hoping that we're going to see that the build up to chapter 1000 is going to be more of this, where we see each of the samurai fall one after the other. Because there's what, 7 chapters left until chapter 1000. So if Oda's going through this, it could be all the next 7 chapters leading up to 1000. Could be a split between, all right, we'll see what everyone else is up to, and then we'll do a bit of the Kaido fight where each chapter he takes down one of the Kozuki samurai, because there was 9 of them at the start. Then Conjuro was the traitor, leaving 8, and Kiku's supposedly down for the count, which will leave 7 of them. So it'll be interesting if that's the build-up. Is going to be Luffy rushing his way up to the dome, and chapter 1000 is him seeing Kaido kind of just looming over the corpses of the 9, and Luffy are like similar to Dressrosa, where he came up and Doflamingo was messing around with Bellamy. So it'll be interesting. That's what the build up to 1000 is Luffy coming up to the roof and seeing kind of looming over the samurai. I don't know if that's going to be the end of Act 3. So, on the one hand, it would make for a dramatic moment. You see Luffy kind of exchanging glances with Kaido, and then you have end Act 3. You go find out what's happening in the rest of the world, and then you come back to it for Act 4. Else, yeah, I don't know. It's too early to tell right now, so we'll have to wait and see. I do also, because this is something else I was thinking of, just like final thoughts before I wrap up here. It's intriguing as to why Oda, apart from like the whole mystery deal of like, oh, he just doesn't want to reveal it yet for like tension and dramatic, effect or whatever. It's interesting that we haven't seen Kaido in his hybrid form at any point in the series, even against his fight with Oden, where he like even now he's kind of going like, oh yeah, Oden was the strongest, we'll never see his like again. Oh, he would have given me a worthy death. It kind of strikes me as weird that in a fight like that, if he was so keen and intent on being killed, why wouldn't he go into his hybrid form, which I would assume give him more mobility, speed, and would make him, I think, harder to fight. So it's kind of odd that all this time he's just kind of stayed in his dragon form. So I wonder if there's a reason he's not going to his hybrid form. And I wonder if that's tied somehow to the Impel Beast, Awakened Zone forms. I wonder if the reason Kaido and his group aren't going into that is if they'll become mindless like the Jailer Beast would, and they wouldn't be able to control themselves and just basically rampage and destroy everything. And so he's trying to use that as kind of like a last resort, being like, when the chips are on the table, that's when I'll go into this form, because otherwise it's too dangerous. Because I've speculated before, Kaido having been potentially born or at least imprisoned on Punk Hazard for a time. And I've speculated before on Vegapunk potentially having done experiments on him to awaken his fruit. So I wonder if he's made him into a thing something similar to the Jailer Beast, where he's not able to maintain his consciousness or his rationality in his hybrid form. We'll have to wait and see. That would be an interesting way also to kind of close out chapter 11, is Luffy kind of seeing him in his hybrid form as well. But yeah, we'll see. Overall, I get why people are kind of like shocked and taken aback by this chapter, but honestly, at this point, Oda's history has kind of spoken for itself. I really don't know what else to say about it. I want to hope for the best, but I'll give Oda the benefit of the doubt. I'll wait and see if he actually commits to any of this or if he's going to undercut it again. Apart from that, I hope you all like this stream, like my thoughts. Like I said at the beginning, if anyone has any opinions on what times you prefer I do my streams on Sundays, when the chapter comes out, then please do let me know because that'll be really helpful. Kind of try to help me figure out my schedules when I do those videos. Apart from that, thank you all for joining me as I did this reaction. As always, if you like my content, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next week, this is Ash. I'll talk to you all later.